Well, Josh, World Cup on the horizon all of a sudden. Everything's on the horizon all of a sudden with cricket because everything goes so quickly. But what's it to you? What's it inside your head about what it's going to be like on those decks in front of those crowds?
Anytime you go to India, it's it's just something else. It's passionate. There's crowds everywhere. There's fuss about everything. So for World Cup, you can only imagine what it's going to be like. Everything will be sold out, months ahead. And just playing cricket in India, it's just something different. It's hard to describe to people who haven't been there, and you see what you see on TV, but it's next level.
Yeah, for someone like yourself, laid back country boy, grew up with sounds like this in the backyard all the time with magpies going off and the like, as opposed to getting over there and it's just mayhem. It's rock star mayhem. Does it go against everything that deep down you enjoy, or is it something that you actually do appreciate and like?
I think I appreciate it for a few weeks, and then it sort of can get a bit much as time goes on. And I think a few of the Aussie players, feel the same after a couple of weeks, couple of months in India. Then it sort of things start to wear a bit on you. But I think you just realise how passionate they are. They just love cricket. I can't imagine the Indian players how they go about it for 12 months a year. But it's just so passionate.
What's the most batshit crazy thing you've seen in your time there at the IPL in terms of that? you had to tell stories of MS Dhoni and wherever he goes, he's like a god and things like that. Just where fans are on the verge of their heads exploding because they see a cricketer or.
I think, the last 2 years I played IPL with Bangalore, and that's Virat Kohli's team. So sort of see firsthand what he puts up with, day in, day out. And I think, there was one morning we were both in the lift going to breakfast at whatever time, and as soon as the lift sort of opened about 3 centimetres, they saw him. There was about 50 people in the lobby. They all just sprinted over, and the security guard sort of had to form a circle around him just to try and protect him. I thought it was great because I just walked straight to breakfast. No one knew about me. But it's just sort of little things like that all day, every day for people like that is just crazy.
Oh, you didn't get in the circle though?
No, definitely not. Safer outside.
Quick one. Yeah, true. Because I've heard stories how he has to go to the gym at weird hours and they have to close down the gym, so he goes in there so that no randoms who happen to be staying in the hotel. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
so
it's just mad, stuff like that all the time. Yeah, crazy.
Weird, isn't it? Far out. What about bowling to him? What's that like?
It's challenging. Especially if we're talking World Cup, we're talking ODI cricket. You have a look through his numbers; they're pretty special. He's probably the best player of all time in ODI cricket, really. And in particular, I think when they're chasing. So it's just you really got to be on from ball one. I know it's all the cliches about the spot to bowl is so small. There's so little room for error and all that sort of stuff. And it's just all true. He's just such a good player. So got to be on your game.
What's the key to white ball bowling in India?
Yeah, I actually haven't played a lot of ODI cricket in India. I've missed tours here and there or been rested, been injured, but we've had a little bit of success there, in the last few tours. So we play, the team that goes, our team, we played a lot of cricket in India and a lot of white ball, probably more T20 than one days, but the guys the conditions are so natural to us now. We play a lot there. Not a lot changes compared to Australia. The wickets are probably a little flatter, a little lower. The scores can be a little bit higher, but you don't change too much.
Been a weird couple of years for you, getting your body right.
Yeah.
Physically, has it been tougher physically getting back or mentally going through the process? It's both a big challenge, obviously.
Yeah, they're both a big challenge. When I when I look back, I haven't missed a lot of weeks of bowling, if that makes sense. I've missed very important timings, I think. I've been injured in the first test of the last couple of summers. And, I've really only missed 3 or 4 weeks of bowling out of the 12 months. But, that's when home tests have been on. So it's been hard to get my head around a little bit in that regard. But just coming off the back of England, the body feels in good shape and played 4 out of the 6 test matches there, which was great. And that's just another step back to where I was beforehand.
Yeah. Are you in the position where you could play back-to-back test matches now? Because it's always a bit of a worry. We heard with the Ashes that there was the rotation policy couldn't go back-to-back because of the tight turnarounds, but not a problem at the moment?
No, it feels like I got through pretty well. The game I rested, the third test, I was ready to go. And it was probably good it was taken out of my hands. It was pretty, I guess you're in the emotion of it all and you're ready to go and you feel comfortable to play again. But it's probably the right thing to sit it out and and then focus on the last 2 games. But yeah, I feel as ready as I've was beforehand, and I mean it all depends again how much you bowl in those Test matches. But yeah, as far as anything else goes, it feels good.
That whole series felt like a bit of an outlier in terms of the norm.
Yes.
And it's always pushed to the edge in an Ashes series, but was that like outside what you'd experienced before?
Yeah, I think it was like we saw it as a good challenge. It was something different. We haven't really come up against batting like that before, and probably the biggest surprise was how little the wickets did. They were quite flat, quite low and slow, and didn't really feel like you could get that carry through to the keeper a lot of the time. So we sort of adapted on the run, and it wasn't typical English conditions, I don't think, and probably saw that how long it took them to bowl us out twice a lot of the time, and how quickly they scored off us. So things happened pretty quick when we were out in the field, but I found it a good challenge, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
You know what Bazball is now? Or are you still confused?
We saw it on occasion.
Nathan Lyon tells a story of how much you love Bazball, declaration on day one of the...
Yes. Well, that was probably one thing that got me through the 4 Test matches. I think we had the option to take the second new ball, I think, once out of all the innings of the 5 Tests. So they scored their runs at the clip, and obviously that means that we're not out there for as long. But it's quite intense when you're out there. But I think, once you come off and you've only bowled 60, 70 overs, it's a lot different to just slogging it out in the heat over 120, 130 overs.
Can you see that style of cricket taking over the way everyone plays Test cricket?
I think it'll find a little niche where, when you're on top, 2 batters are in, the wicket's good. I think that sort of stroke play will happen. And then there's other times where the wicket's doing a bit more, the ball's new, let's just rein it back in a bit and get through this period. So I think there'll still be a bit of both. So I think if you put our batting with their batting and find that little middle period, I think it'll be, that's probably the norm going forward.
Are you a milestone guy? Wickets taken and all that?
No, not really, no.
Do you know off the top of your head how many Test wickets you're on?
Maybe 230 odd, maybe.
300? Is that does that mean anything to you, that number, at all?
No, not really. I think I just play. I think the more you look ahead, I think, the more you're not where you are at the moment. So every time I've seemed to look ahead, I've been injured or something happens or you don't bowl very well in that spell. And everyone's interchangeable. So as soon as you make a mistake or don't bowl well for a couple of games, you sort of spots on the line in the Australian team. And 300 will be a long way off then. Yeah.
Well, Gaz had in his head, like we all did, I think, when's the 500th coming? Yeah. Then his calf exploded.
Yeah, that's right.
So you can't get ahead of yourself.
There you go. I think he was it the 400th wicket? Took forever as well for Gazza, I think.
Here in Australia.
And then he went from 400 to 440 in about 10 minutes. But to get that last one, I think, if you start thinking about milestones, they don't happen.
with the 4 of you, and I say the 4 of you, Cummins, Stark, Hazlewood, Lyon, kind of rolls off the tongue. Yeah. Those 4. What's that era been like for you? I'm not saying it's up. I'm not trying to end this, by the way. It's got a few more years left. Don't worry. But what does it mean to you? Because I don't think it's fully appreciated yet. Yeah. And it probably won't be appreciated until 1 or 2 of you are done.
I think it's the same with, if you look back when it was McGrath, Gillespie, Lee and Warne, probably wasn't appreciated when it was happening either. And then, once they finished, you think, wow, they were pretty good. So I'm not saying we're anywhere near that, but there's a nice little one. I think Adelaide or Perth last year when all 4 had 200 wickets in the same attack, and that was the first time that had ever happened, which really surprised me, first of all, because I thought those other guys would have done it years ago, all the West Indians back then. But that was a nice little milestone, I guess, that you look at it more of a team within a team one rather than individuals. So, we play a lot of cricket together and enjoy each other's company and success. So it's it's nice.
And not saying that other great partnerships, bowling partnerships, haven't been really good mates, but I get the feeling you guys are really good mates.
Yeah, it feels that way. We probably spend too much time with each other sometimes, but I think the feeling of when you take 20 wickets together, a number of times, and you walk off the field, winning a game of cricket as a sort of four bowlers together, it's pretty special.
At what point do you get in your career, and again, I'm not trying to end anything here, but what point do you get in your career where it drops into your head, okay, well, what does life look like without cricket once it's done? Is that dropped into your head yet? Or
not really, no. I think we got little tastes of it during the first lockdown in COVID. I think in Sydney we didn't have a tour for about 3 months, which is forever for us. And we're just floating around home, playing a bit of golf, bit of training, and no real commitments. Couldn't go see anyone. It was a nice little peek into retirement, and I enjoyed it. It was good.
That's not real life, mate.
Yeah.
Once cricket's done, you'll actually. Oh, it depends how many times you go back to the IPL, though.
That's right. That's right.
How many extensions you can put on the house.
Yeah. Well, I think that's obviously the little, at the end you got those T20 franchise leagues around the world, which it feels like, you see guys doing it now, and you think, geez, you're busier than what I am almost. So you sort of got to pick and choose, hopefully, if you're in that position, and sort of just taper off at the end.
Yeah. Can you see yourself back on a farm? I mean, Pat's a farmer.
That's a stretch. I'd like to see his boots, how clean they are.
Brand new RMs, I think.
That's right. That's right. I don't think on a farm, but it'll be pretty relaxed lifestyle, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't get ahead of yourself, do you? You don't-
No.
Do you get stressed before you play?
No, there's a couple of games here and there when you think like a World Cup final in the UAE or something like that pops its head up, and you get a few nerves going, and the blood starts to boil. But it's those moments are good. And then a lot of the time, if you stress too much, you'll give yourself a heart attack.
Yeah, that's not a good thing, Josh. What about mid-spell? If you're copping some tap, do you start to stress then? Or do you just strip it back to...
Yeah, I think you go back to your basics, but often just look at Paddy and say, I think it's your turn to bowl. Have a rest and come back after a wicket or something. But yeah.
Well, now he's making that decision. How do you reckon Pat's adjusted to life as a captain?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, it's a daunting job when you look at it, but I think he's sort of broken it down to what it is, and he treats it that way, and I think he's dealing with it pretty well. England was probably the first time when he was probably under the most pressure in a away Ashes series, and I mean, we got off to such a flyer and then sort of plotted out a little bit, but there's always those moments in Ashes and in Test matches when you're not on top, and he was always very calm to talk to out in the field and very calculated still. So yeah, it was no issue.
Could you do it, be a captain as a frontline bowler as well?
I've done one game here, an ODI, but I think full-time Test captains are a bit much for me. I think too much off-the-field dramas that they have to deal with. So
Talking into microphones and
on the field, no stress, but off the field, yeah.
Fair enough. After the summer, New Zealand.
Yep.
So I'm guessing that someone like yourself doesn't mind those conditions, but it's been a while over there.
Yeah, it seems a long time ago. When was that? Like 2016 or before that? 2016.
Geez, you cricketers have good memories.
Yes. I remember Kostaki was injured from something with his foot, and Paddy wasn't back from injury yet either, so went over by myself with Nath. But yeah, New Zealand's great. I mean, it's a bit of a bowl first sort of scenario over there a lot of the time. You get a lot out of the wickets day 1 and 2, and then it sort of doesn't really break up over there. So you can score big runs late, but New Zealand they're a tough opposition wherever you play them. So it's always a good fun battle against the Kiwis.
Is Kane Williamson on the level of a Virat Kohli in the sense that you don't feel totally in control when he's when he's seeing them well?
Yeah, he's in that top sort of echelon of batters. If he was Indian, I'm sure he'd get the same fanfare as Virat, but he sort of sneaks under the radar a bit being a Kiwi. But sort of a slow death with Kane in Test cricket. He'll just wear you down a bit like Pujara, just all day, and just keep. And the next minute he's on 170, 180. So
yeah,
it's a good defence. It's probably pretty much the best defence in Test cricket almost. So it's hard work.
So he grinds players down. Flip side is a player like David Warner, who's entering his last summer as an Australian Test player. Got a Davey Warner story that pops into your head pretty simply for you?
Nothing really. He's sort of taken on the role of team manager lately. He's,
team manager?
Well, not team manager, but just organising everything. He organises golf, he organises dinners, he's very busy off the field at the moment, so it might be step into the next
Steve Bernard type thing.
Post-career.
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, but is that everyone okay with that? Just following direction from Davey?
Oh, I think it means you don't have to do it. So it's usually a nice golf course, so you just turn up and play, and Davey organises it, so it's good.
Were you on that golf tour, mid-Ashes tour? Were you on that?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, we heard about that.
That was very good, yeah.
Like a few of the family guys who went, to different ports with their loved ones.
Yeah.
Got back and it was like, oh, you had a good time, did you?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for
It was quite a few guys. I'd say there was 4 or 5 who really wanted to be there and just couldn't make it. So we didn't rub it in at all. Yeah.
No. No. Where'd you go?
We went up to Scotland.
Yep.
For a few rounds of golf. All around sort of Inverness area, so quite a long way up. Royal Dornoch, Castle Stewart, Skibo Castle were the three, and they were very, very good.
Who won?
I think myself and Marcus Harris got the chocolate.
Oh, you're playing as pairs?
Yeah, we sort of paired up, and we're playing our own ball as well, but pairs against Victoria and Marsh. So yeah, Harris was very good.
If you all went to Augusta and played 4 rounds, who'd end up with a green jacket?
I think Victoria would.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's sneaky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sneaky golfer.
He's a Kiwi, so he can't win. What about if it was an Australian?
You mean overall out of us four?
No, out of the whole
Out of the
playing
whole
group.
team. The lowest handicap would be Maxi or Davey. A few coaches are good too. Ronnie the coach is a good golfer.
Yep.
Moses Enriques, if he was there, he'd win it. Whoever plays, we all got different handicaps. So whoever plays well on the day usually gets it.
Well, mate, you got no time for golf over the next 6 months. Too much cricket, so I'm sure you'll find.
That's what I thought last few months.
But last one, how pumped are you for the impending? Like, it's a busy. There's no such time as a quiet time in the world cricket calendar these days. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but what you look ahead for the next 9 months, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it always feels like that. It always there's something coming up next month, 6 months, 9 months. It's always just a full schedule, so there's always a game of cricket to be played.
All good. Thanks, mate.
Thanks. Cheers.